live in HD. This
frightening,
is 2 News
absolutely terrifying. I really thought it was the end of the world.
A massive earthquake strikes the coast of Chile, while much of the country was sleeping. More on what happened in just a moment. But first, good evening tonight. Thanks for joining us for 2 News at 10. Moments of violent shaking followed by aftershocks in Chile. And a man from Utah now living in Santiago says it was the most frightening experience of his life. Tonight, a 2 News exclusive interview with the man via Skype. It is tonight's top story. Stark images in a teeming city following the 8.8 earthquake.
I'm feeling a aftershock right now.
During our interview Saturday afternoon, Jared Mashburn felt more movement. According to Jared, it was nothing like the powerful quake that hit hours earlier in morning darkness. This is video outside his family's 10th floor apartment in Santiago. As his 4 kids were in their bedrooms, Jared and his wife were on their balcony.
And I said, look, the whole city is black. And then while we were on our balcony, we began to feel some small shakes. And she said, this is an earthquake.
Coming back inside, the shaking, as recorded by a closed-circuit camera elsewhere, intensified. They grabbed their kids.
We were at our front door. We had the door open. We couldn't move. We couldn't stand up. It was like, going through the shaking house in a fun house, just like that. And we just sat there. And the only thing the only thing I could think of was, any moment, the floor is going to drop from our feet.
The shaking may have lasted a couple of minutes, but the Mashburns building held, though their apartment has damage.
It does show you that there is definitely some structural damage. Here's the entrance to our kitchen. There's been some plaster and some cement that has fallen off the ceiling.
Jared, his wife, and 4 kids are safe. They clearly were away from the worst of it in Santiago. Now, there are no reports of injuries or deaths to Americans. The LDS Church says it's made contact with its mission presidents in the country and says all of the church's missionaries in Chile have reported in and are safe, including the 2 elders on Juan Fernandez Island. Earlier, those elders had not been contacted. Well, officials are still trying to assess the full damage of the quake, one of the largest ever recorded. More than 200 people are dead, and the country's president has declared a state of catastrophe. Terrell Brown with more.
One of the largest earthquakes on record shook central Chile in the middle of the night. Residents scrambled out of this collapsed apartment building in their pajamas. More than 13 million people, including Cecilia Lagos, felt the 8.8 magnitude earthquake.
So it was absolutely frightening, absolutely terrifying. I really thought it was the end of the world.
Daylight revealed rubble in the streets of the capital city, Santiago, along with collapsed bridges and smashed cars. In Concepcion, a large city near the epicenter, inmates fled this prison after it caught fire. Later, police were able to round up some of the escapees. In the small colonial town of Talca, even closer to the epicenter, the worst is feared. Chile's president has declared a state of catastrophe and is calling for calm and patience as rescue teams and emergency crews do their work. U.S. search and rescue teams are standing by to deploy to Chile. So far, Chilean authorities haven't asked any other countries for help. Even though this quake was hundreds of times more powerful than the one that shook Haiti last month, its location deeper in the earth, combined with Chile's better construction standards, means far less devastation.
Damage was really spread out. This is definitely not a Haiti situation, by no means.
Hospitals are still treating scores of injured, and hundreds of thousands of Chileans have lost their homes. Terrell Brown, CBS News, New York.
There were tsunami warnings across the Pacific, including Hawaii, but the waves never materialized in any great form. Thankfully, no serious damage to report there. Well, another